Hey Kia. Hey Jamie. I would like wave at y'all on there, but it's super far away, so not gonna be able to do it. Sorry. Give everybody just a few more minutes to get settled in, and I will preface this by always saying, you guys, I'm gonna try to keep it really short. Like, I don't want to go really long, but we know how things can go. So I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off so that we can stay within a decent time frame. So first things first, happy full moon in Pisces. Hey Danielle. Today the full moon reached 100% at 1:22 a.m. Eastern time, and the full moon in Pisces is actually known as the harvest moon. Well, this full moon for this date is known as the harvest moon. And the full moon is also at 10 degrees. So that's just the little fun facts to get us started. So one thing that I think is super important for us to kind of think about with this full moon is that concept of the harvest moon, right? The reason that the harvest moon is called the harvest moon is because during this time of year, crops were really reaching their culmination, and daylight was starting to get a little shorter. So farmers were dependent on the light from the full moon to help them go ahead and harvest all of their crops. So I think that there's an underlying message there for us to just be very mindful of the concept that we are in our season of harvest at this point. And with that real notion of needing the light from the full moon to illuminate the things that we need to watch out for and make sure that we are paying attention to as we are going to reap what we have sown through the deeds and the actions and the lessons and the teachings that we have participated in thus far in the year. So that was just a quick little breakdown of the harvest moon and the meaning and how it applies to some of the energy you may be feeling right now. So full moons are great times for us to focus on a couple of things. Number one, they're great times for us to focus on looking inward and doing a lot of self-healing. Because of that full illumination that is available to us, we can kind of look internally and see some of the shadowy aspects of ourselves that we might not have been able to see so well before. The full moon is also a good time for us to work on shedding old things that may be halting us from moving to our next phase. So if you think about it, the full moon is the end of a big journey for our lunar planet. And if we don't shed the things and start to kind of wane, so to speak, then we cannot continue to transform and make it to that next phase of the moon, make it to a first quarter moon, a new moon, and any of the different phases of life and transformation in the cycle. Like you see kind of behind me here. That wasn't a good job since the camera didn't move, but I moved, so that helped a little bit, I hope. But again, this is a time for us to really focus on utilizing that peak energy that you're probably feeling right now. You probably felt a little bit of a boost of energy with the full moon, but use that energy in a way that allows you to really make the changes that are necessary for you to kind of come into your final form, right? It's really going to be important for us to acknowledge that that peak energy is here. And then you need to do something with it, because that energy builds up and builds up and builds up. And if we hold on to it, we have the tendency, that's why you have like lunar madness. People think on full moons, like strange things happen and all all the things that are associated with kind of full moon madness, is because people are allowing that full moon peak energy to build up within them and not releasing any of it. So again, you probably felt a surge of energy and something that maybe even caught your attention that you wanted to put some of that energy and focus into. Now it's time to kind of take a step back and acknowledge the buildup of energy, so that you can understand what needs to be released. So this cycle of illumination, acknowledgement, and letting go is critical for us to maintain balance. So again, that's what's keeping us from seeping into that kind of lunar madness feeling that you can get around the full moon. It's that cycle of letting go that has to take place during the full moon cycles. Again, we are polarity type individuals. We are very yin and yang internally. So maintaining that balance is going to be extremely critical for us to step into our harvest. See what I did there? Yeah. So it's really time to, like I said, illuminate some of the things that have been hidden to you here recently, or things that have recently come to light that you may have been wondering about or considering or giving some extra attention to. Let that be illuminated, and acknowledge the feelings and the emotions and the memories and the nostalgia that are associated with that feeling, thing, person, place, and determine how you need to let go of that energy, whether that be physically letting go of the person, place, thing, paradigm, habit, or if it's more of an emotional release of moving past what has occurred. That's going to be for you guys to determine. But with the full moon being in Pisces, and some of the other aspects that are going on with the planets, it's really time for us to break a lot of those soul contracts that we incarnated into this lifetime with, and break those soul contracts that have reached their expiration date. That's what it comes down to. A lot of times we have made soul contracts with other people in our lives, and we've asked them before we incarnated here, right, to help us learn something in this lifetime. There are certain things I will need for you to do for me to learn an actual lesson here. And of course, we don't remember making these soul contracts. We incarnate into this lifetime and we just hope for the best. But the reality is you have these soul contracts, and a lot of them are coming up for harvest. It's time to break them. They've reached their expiration date. They have reached the culmination. Their time is up, and it's time for you to live in that, accept that, and let it go. Again, there are a lot of aspects that really support that same messaging, and we'll get into that in a second. But let's talk about the full moon in Pisces. Okay, so like I said, full moon is in Pisces at 10 degrees, guys. So like I said in the last video, I've been really focusing on the Sabian symbols when I'm talking through what these degree placements mean. But I will give you the same advice I give you in every video. Please check your natal chart to identify where Pisces at 10 degrees falls from a house's perspective. That is going to illuminate the area in your life that you may need to do some additional healing around, that you may need to focus on some. And it's also going to illuminate what you need to let go. So check your chart for Pisces at 10 degrees, guys, and see which house it falls in. The Sabian symbol for Pisces at 10 degrees is associated with an aviator in the clouds. So when I read that, my initial thought was, okay, so that's kind of inspiring. That feels like something really good to aspire to, kind of that weightlessness, being in the air, soaring higher than you thought was possible, or that anyone thought was possible at some point. But then I got kind of hit with reality. And like, I'm not an aviator. I don't know how to fly a plane, and I don't know how to do this, that, and the third. And that's really the energy that we're in right now with the full moon in Pisces. It's kind of this, and some of the other aspects. It's this back and forth between feeling that energy around seeing the bigger picture and being in the clouds and transcending against our normal problems, seeing things from this kind of celestial standpoint, but kind of getting pulled back down to reality by some of the other more grounded outer planets still being in retrograde. So this full moon is going to be all about, like I said, that aviator in the clouds feeling, rising above the distractions and seeing things from a higher perspective. But again, this isn't about you trying to escape reality. So, like I said, that kind of dreamy, I'm in the clouds and everything's fine and I'm soaring above feeling that Pisces can bring to this conversation it can lead into behaviors that are escapist, leaning into drugs and alcohol and things of that nature to try and escape reality. But that's not what this is about. This is about honestly transcending into the clouds so that you are, like I said, seeing things from that higher perspective, but taking control of navigating your journey in a way that allows you to transcend illusion and take you above and beyond the trivialities of this 3D normal everyday life. Whew. So I said a lot of words just now. I'm going to give it a second and, catch my breath. Give you guys a second to catch your breath while I think through the next talking point. And actually, no. That's some of the energy, right? It's that kind of doubling up on yourself. It's, okay, well, let me give it all I got, but maybe I should take a step back. So don't let the trivialities or the difficulties that appear on the surface keep you from reaching for the clouds, for trying to sail as high as you possibly can. I think when we're going through a lot of this energy, we also need to be very mindful of the nature of Pisces, right? Pisces is a water sign, very emotional. Pisces is a mutable sign, which means can be very chameleon-like, dare I say a little shifty, to try and fit in to whatever situation they find themselves in. But the thing about Pisces is Pisces can be known to fall into almost like a victim mentality. So make sure you're avoiding that underneath this energy, because like I said, we still have a lot of planets in retrograde. So there's a lot of oppositional energy coming in to kind of fight against what is going on with Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune. So a lot of that dreamy, illusionary, mystical, mysterious energy is being combated by a lot of the more hard, rigid planets that are retrograding. So it's going to be imperative that we all focus on elevating ourselves to a point where we can be our own barometers. And because we need to be able to notice the shifts in the atmosphere around us at this time. That is very critical. Be your own barometer, notice the shifts that are taking place in your atmosphere and adjust accordingly. This is not a time for you to be low vibrational. This is not a time for you to fear change. It's not a time to try to go with the crowd, nor is it a time to isolate yourself. This is a time for you to anchor your individual identity into the collective identity in a way that solicits the change that you need to actually transform into your highest self. This is your coronation, so to speak. Welcome to the ascension process for those of you who are new. And for those of you who are on round 2, 3, 4, 5, you already know how this goes, but you can expect for this ascension to be significantly different. Because like I said, we have experienced a lot of paradigm shifts, but we also have a lot of energy that is supporting this necessary change. So for instance, over the next couple of weeks, we have a couple of transits that I wanted to highlight. So number 1, Saturn is retrograde in Capricorn right now. But tomorrow, Saturn hits an aspect with the North Node, which is our karmic direction in this lifetime. It determines kind of the karmic lesson we need to learn to be our best selves. Saturn is aspecting with that in what's called a quincunx, which is driving uncomfortable change that goes against the grain of tradition, discipline, structure. So there are going to be some things happening in your day-to-day starting tomorrow. We kind of already are in the energy, but there are going to be some things that happen that are pushing you in a way that doesn't make you feel good. They're pushing you to do things a lot differently than you would traditionally do those things. A couple of days later, on September 5th, Uranus, which is retrograding in Taurus, also forms an aspect with the North Node, again, our karmic direction in life, and that aspect is known as a semi-square. So again, that is something that's talking about change as a result of a karmic lesson being learned. So and change in a way that is very beautiful. So it's an uncomfortable change, but it's a beautiful change, and it is all tied to us being able to transmute the karma that we came into this incarnation with. We've all been working very hard and learning a lot of lessons, and it seems that the time has come for us to look our teachers in the face, forgive them for the transgressions and the hurt and the emotional scarring, and be thankful for the lessons that we've learned so that we can keep pushing and keep moving and go on to our next lesson. A couple of other things as far as aspects are concerned. The moon is actually going to be trine with Uranus, or is trine with Uranus. These are two water planets supporting one another, supporting one another's energy. And both of these planets kind of being in that support position are just helping us to see beyond. Like I said, get that higher perspective, see beyond in a way that allows us to facilitate that necessary change that is coming through those lessons we've learned in the past year. Venus, which is in Cancer, is going to be in opposition to Saturn, which again is retrograding in Capricorn. These are both feminine and receptive planets, but this is a difficult aspect. It's difficult, but not impossible to navigate, right? So these two planets aren't necessarily working together, but Capricorn and Cancer are on the same axis, so they can kind of see where each other's coming from. So this is really going to be an opportunity for communication and some sort of compromise between these two aspects of ourselves, the aspect of our emotional body and our practical mind, logic and reason, and really almost even the concept of our spiritual selves versus our more everyday secular selves. Seeing each other for who we are and accepting that and allowing ourselves to be the fullest version of ourselves. And then the last aspect that I was going to share is that Saturn is actually square Mars. So Saturn retrograding in Capricorn is going to be square Mars. And Mars is currently in Aries, and it actually goes into retrograde. It actually goes into retrograde on September 9th. And it's going to be in retrograde for a while. So, again, the Saturn and Mars are both in cardinal energy. So, leadership energy. So, it's going to really, those two being in a square, which is an opposition energy, it's going to be pushing against how we take charge, how we take action during this time. Kind of two energies pulling us in two different directions, with Saturn retrograding in Capricorn probably wanting us to lead in a more disciplined and structured way of taking charge and being leaders and building empires, whereas Mars and Aries is just like go, 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 get it, headstrong, head first, don't take no for an answer type energy, as we are trying to, again, move and go with the flow of this necessary and uncomfortable change that has come as a result of the karmic lessons that we've learned. So if you were paying attention there, I want you to note how many planets are in retrograde. Saturn is in retrograde, and it's going to be in retrograde for a while. Uranus is in retrograde. Mars is going retrograde in about a week. Let's see, who else is retrograde? Pluto is still retrograding in Capricorn and will be doing so until October 4th. Neptune, the planet that rules Pisces, is in retrograde and will be in retrograde until November 28th. So bear in mind that with Neptune being in the planet that rules Pisces being in retrograde, Neptune symbolizes glamour and illusion and sensitivity. So with that planet ruling the sign that our full moon is in right now, being in retrograde, like I said, you may be finding that you are getting distracted by the illusions of some of these more surface level problems that are no longer your problems, because you are in a state of transcending past some of this more trivial 3D problematic day-to-day stuff. If you are on this journey, that I would imagine many of you are for tuning into this video, then it's really time to soar above those trivial issues and take that higher perspective. And like I said, just notice the shifts in your atmosphere and move accordingly. That's gonna be what you should really be focused on, with all of these planets kind of doing their thing. Again, mostly outer planets in retrograde, so big shifts that are happening right now. But again, these are these big shifts that are ushering in the change that all of us are probably looking for, on an individual identity level. Again, very critical for Pisces to lock into their individual identity, but also to serve the collective consciousness. So elevating our individual purpose and mission and life path in order to do the same for the collective around us. So again, it's going to be important for us to focus on forgiving these people, situations, ourselves that have caused us this emotional distress, and thank them for teaching us these necessary lessons. Forgiveness is going to be a prerequisite for gratitude for us as we start to think about what type of rituals we may want to do tonight. So the concept of the harvest moon had me thinking about pumpkins for some reason. Like, I just kept getting this vision of a big round orange pumpkin, and with that, it led me down this path of letting the ritual for this full moon be about healing your sacral chakra. So your sacral chakra is really, you have your root chakra, then you have your sacral chakra. So it's right above your root, which keeps you grounded. And when your sacral chakra is blocked, it also kind of messes with your balance. So we talked about making sure we're maintaining that balance by doing a lot of this releasing of energy, letting go of energy that is no longer serving us. So that's what this ritual will be about. So what I would suggest you do is to focus on your sacral chakra at this time. Get orange candles, orange flowers, orange crystals. I have a few orange crystals here: peach selenite, rhyolite, carnelian, and I can't remember what this one is called. Oh, peach moonstone. Very, very beautiful stones, and you can keep those around you to help you stay connected to the earth. The flowers are also an earth element. Orange candle to bring in some of that fire energy, and always have some water with whatever ritual you're doing, because I think you need to make sure you have all the elements with you. And any kind of incense, or maybe even an orange feather for air. I have sacral chakra incense that I like to light, so if you have the same thing, then that's pretty cool. You can light those and work with that energy as well. But what I would suggest you do is take yourself to a place where you can get really quiet and anchored into your own energy. Take a few cleansing deep breaths, and then I want you to really focus on the people, the places, the ideas, the habits, the thoughts, the negative self-talk, the memories that are flooding back to you that have brought you shame or guilt, things that have caused you to fear being vulnerable, things that are keeping you and causing trouble with you connecting with other people, and really try to identify what those areas are so that you can write a list that is, I forgive myself, this person, that situation. Get into whatever it is that makes sense for you, so that you can move out of this space of feeling disconnected and a lack of motivation and creativity and just emotionally cold. A lot of people have fallen into that energy. So I want that to be the focus here, is pushing that out of our energetic space through forgiveness. So write a list, write it all out, journal on it as long as you possibly need to. And then when you have written it all out, the candle, the orange candle that you'll have, burn that forgiveness letter in the candle. Release it. Let it go. It's done. And once you let go of that energy, you have left a space open for you to be in gratitude. So immediately pour gratitude back into yourself. One, for allowing yourself to forgive yourself and others for all of those transgressions. But just to be grateful for the journey. Be grateful for the lessons. Be grateful for the things that are coming towards you and the things that are leaving your field. And in that, that's my plan for the full moon. You, of course, can do whatever you want to do, but that's what I'm going to be focused on with this full moon. Let's see, was there anything else I was going to do? Oh, of course. So, in an effort to try and keep this short, like I said, the full moon in Pisces is at 10 degrees. Check your charts for Pisces at 10 degrees so that you can see which house you may want to focus on from a forgiveness aspect. Just know that this full moon is bringing up emotions around things that are kind of nostalgic. It's going to pull you into a reflection on past energy, a reflection on these karmic and soul contracts like I was talking about earlier. And it's going to be up to you to identify how you take action to transmute, transcend, move past that energy. Because like I said, a lot of these soul contracts have reached their expiration dates, and it's time for you to step into your season of abundance and harvest. So with that, I am going to do a quick shuffle of one of my new favorite decks. It is the Starseed Oracle. I don't know if you guys can see that. The light is kind of trash, but here we go. And I wanted to do something from this deck because, like I said, it just feels like this is all about that coronation energy. It feels like it's about transcendence. It feels like it is about feeling. And with that, a lot of people need to feel more so that they can really align with their purpose. A lot of starseeds are going to be awakening underneath this full moon energy. So this deck just felt right, jumped out, begged to come out today. So that was pretty quick. What energy do we want to share with the collective today? Oh, that's beautiful. Let me just push this to the back. Any other messages to share with the collective today for the full moon in Pisces? Anything else to be shared with this fine group of moon children here for the full moon in Pisces? That was like a lot of cards. Way too many cards. I'm not going to be able to take all of those. Need less of a message. That was like 6 cards, y'all. So I'm not even going to do y'all like that. Any other messages? Ooh. But it seems like 6 want to come out. Any other messages for the group here today? Alright. This is a strong... It's actually coming through pretty clear here. The first card that came out was the 7 Star Sisters. The second card here is Star Family. And let's see, one more card. That is more than one card. But it is the same cards that tried to come out earlier. So we will take these 2. We got Inner Earth and Lifting the Veil. So let me just combine and scoot as best I can. Yeah, you hang out over there. We'll get back to you. So the 7 Star Sisters talks about birthing creations, the tapestry of life and expression. There are new creations that want to be born, beauty that's yearning to be woven, new consciousness that's longing to be breathed into life. If you draw this card, you're being called to surrender to these creations, to usher in a new era of consciousness and do your bit in weaving the web of life. This is the card of the artist and the midwife. You're being called to ponder questions. What wants to be birthed through you? What new creations are whispering in your ear? What beauty are you being called to make? Creativity and intuition come from the same sacred place. They occur when we find ourselves flowing with the rest of life. Earth is renowned as a planet of manifestation and creativity, and yet so many of us have forgotten how to create. Somewhere along the way, we stopped seeing ourselves as artists, as creatives, as poets. Yet to be human is to be creative. Creativity is a part of your true nature. Perhaps you're being called to surrender to a creative project, such as a new business or a book. I'll take that. Or perhaps you're being called to weave beauty in your home or in the way you cook. Regardless of the end result, you're being called to express yourself through your creativity, to surrender to the creative projects that both scare and excite you, to find a way to weave beauty back into everyday life. For where there's creativity, spirit and soul are present, and the world needs those qualities more now than ever before. So again, I think that's why that sacral chakra healing energy came up, because that's our creative source. That's where we get the juice to manifest. So I would highly suggest focusing on your sacral chakra from a healing perspective with this full moon. So that's the 7 star sisters. Let me try it. There we go. It's a really pretty card. The next card that came out is Star Family. You're a part of a team of souls, so call in support. At some stage, we were each a part of a soul cluster, a gathering of souls who broke away from one another to experience themselves individually. Those who are part of your soul cluster are a part of your star family. Your star family are those souls who are cut from a similar cosmic cloth. You haven't just experienced lifetimes together. Your souls were once actually one. It is very common for star family members to incarnate at similar times, to work with anchoring a similar frequency of light, and to cross paths with each other. You know that someone is a part of your star family when you feel like you know and remember them from the moment you meet. They feel instantly familiar and comfortable. Time both passes quickly and stretches when you're with them. You feel more yourself with them than with anyone else. It can sometimes feel like looking in the mirror, because in a way you are. Often you'll go out of your way to help those in your star family, instinctively knowing it's part of your path. When a star family member dies, you feel it very deeply, regardless of how long you knew them. A certain soul mourning or soul breaking occurs. Think about the people in your life. Who do you feel is a part of your star family? If this card comes up in a spread, it's likely that you've met someone who is part of your star family, or you are about to. So again, that kind of touches back on some of the conversations we had about the soul contracts and things that you incarnated into this lifetime to do with certain people. So know that you, again, are a part of a soul family. You're a part of a soul cluster. There are people in your soul tribe that are around you and here because you guys chose to incarnate together. You guys were supposed to do things together. I think it is also important to acknowledge that you may be meeting some new soul family members here soon enough. So keep an eye out for people who just feel like your people. And don't be afraid of connecting. Like I said, one of the things that happens when our sacral chakra needs to be healed is we fear connection. We fear that vulnerability of being a part of a bi-directional flow of energy, for fear that someone's going to cut off one of the sources. So know that in a star family, you cannot cut off source from source. You guys are cut from the same cloth. So accept these people that come into your life that feel familiar, that feel like family to you. Accept those people in. But also, I think this is also touching on that message, like I said, to be mindful of some of those soul contracts that have expired. Just because someone is a member of your soul family does not mean that they have to be a member of your walk forever. It just means that you guys are meant to have experienced some portion of this life together. So just tie that back into what we talked about earlier. Oh, I guess I can show y'all the card, right? Let's see. In my mind, y'all can see this. And just know that there is a full moon on this card, which is a beautiful synchronicity. The next card that came out is Inner Earth. And the Inner Earth card says, you'll survive this, new solutions and beginning. And just intuitively, this card is just going to be talking to us about that releasing, that letting go. You'll survive it. There are new things coming out of whatever you have to shift. So inner Earth, also known as Agartha, is believed to be a hidden subterranean world within the planet itself. Many ancient cultures mention it in their stories, and it's said that some of the beings of ancient lost lands such as Lemuria, Atlantis, and Aryavarta went there. Hindu and Celtic lore mention caves and entrances to underground worlds. Tibetan Buddhism refers to the secret mystical city Shambhala, which is thought to be located in the Himalayas. Many have searched for inner Earth in the physical world, but without success. So the mystery continues. Is it a place that exists in the physical or on another level of consciousness? There are solutions beyond what you can perceive, surprising outcomes to your problems and situations, resolutions that are in the best interest of all involved. If you find yourself facing an obstacle or feeling stuck and have no idea of what to do, you're being reassured that there is a way out. You'll survive this and things will work out. If you're stuck in a rut, do something to shake up the energy and shift your thinking. Try something you wouldn't normally do. Soon you'll be able to see that whole new worlds of solutions are available. Things that were previously beyond your focus will present themselves. Helpful people, signs from the universe, and support in both expected and unexpected ways are on their way to you. But first, you need to do something different to shift your focus so you can receive them. Again, Pisces, full moon in Pisces at 10 degrees is about the aviator in the clouds, which is about getting to that higher perspective, so you shift your perspective in a way that allows you to see the bigger picture. Once you see the bigger picture, you will identify new solutions. So this card is right on point with that as well. And again, it's just about seeing that there are different ways to overcome obstacles, seeing that tradition and the structure and the things that we are used to being the path or the right way to do things isn't necessarily going to be that anymore. Again, this concept of inner Earth being this like mysterious place that we can't quite find. Is it in the 3D? Do we have to go to another dimension to access it? Really ties into that kind of Piscean, Neptunian energy of mystery and occult and mysticism and you can't, illusion, that dream state kind of thing where you're not sure, is it real or is it a part of an illusion. So that was a good message there. And this is a really pretty card. The blue and green here are also just kind of, this is probably one of the only super colorful cards here. So just a reminder to speak up for yourself and speak from your heart space, and get grounded, be grounded, stay balanced as you are looking for these new solutions. So really pretty card. And the last card that came out was Lifting the Veil. Since I'm already standing up, I'm going to show you guys the card. Lifting the Veil. So Lifting the Veil says at the bottom, questioning everything. Anything unaligned must go. I think that even before we read the message here in the book, is super straightforward. It's again that release energy. So things aren't always as they seem. This era is one of uncovering mistruths so we can remember ancient truths. Everything is in a state of recall and realignment. Anything that isn't in harmony with the planet will not survive. This goes for society and the world at large as well as in our own lives. If you pull this card, you're being called to energetically scan your life for things that may longer be a vibrational match for who you are and how you've grown. To dismantle the systems and ways of being that once served you and others but no longer do. Some starseeds are here to lift the veil between the seen and unseen worlds. To shine a light on things that are inauthentic or unaligned with survival and well-being of Earth. To stand for and protect those who don't have a voice. To look deeper and question everything that previous generations did not. Some starseeds cannot tolerate things that aren't congruent. They're here to bring society and humanity back into harmony with the planet and the Creator at large. If we tolerate things in our life that aren't aligned and congruent with it, we add to the misalignment of the planet. You're being called to trust yourself. Notice what's out of alignment and then take the baby steps required to bring it back into harmony. This is no easy feat, but it is so worthwhile, both individually and for the planet. We talked about this all earlier. So if you are just tuning in, thank you for joining. But definitely circle back and watch the beginning of the video. This is about being your own barometer, you know, getting up above the clouds, looking, noticing the atmosphere, notice the shifts, notice the things that are no longer aligned, and then adjust accordingly. Take the baby steps needed to remove yourself, remove your energy, or remove others and their energy from those fields that no longer serve the purpose. I think this is also here to just highlight on a larger scale. Like I said, we're working on ourselves as individuals and aligning ourselves individually in order to elevate the collective consciousness. So I think that this is very much so aligned with that message and what we are experiencing in our day-to-day right now. So those things that are no longer aligned are shifting. This paradigm shift is real and it's happening, and things that do not honor the earth, things that do not honor source, divine source, the creator, the creators that we are, and the creation that is this manifestation planet of earth are being taken out of the game. They will no longer be able to survive in this energy field as long as those of us who have chosen to take this journey are choosing to do the work that we need to do, which is acknowledging our soul family, doing the pruning and hedging that needs to be done without fear, not being afraid to take new approaches and see new solutions to old problems, and forgiving and releasing energy that doesn't serve us, looking beyond, seeing the seen and the unseen in a way that allows us to not only heal ourselves but heal others, heal the planet, and ultimately allow us to transcend as a collective moving forward. So that was a lot to tell in there. But again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that you got something out of this video. I hope that you guys have a successful full moon in Pisces and that you capitalize on this energy for the next 3 days. If you have any questions about any of the transits I talked about earlier, about how to read your chart, or just questions about life in general, or if you want a reading, don't hesitate to DM me. I am happy to set up some time with you guys when you are available. So with that being said, it's getting late. I can't wait to see all that sacral chakra healing and creativity that comes out of each of you after we do all of our rituals for the next 3 days. So I will talk with you guys soon. Have a good night.